Okay, welcome to Extermination Radio, the show where we talk about Doom, of course, and mapping and level design and playing Doom and all kinds of different stuff, and anything we feel like talking about. And today I am here with Joe Pallai. Did I pronounce the name right, by the way? Joe Pallai?
You did.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about Doom.
All right.
What is it? What is it about Doom that you find particularly compelling to you? What do you think is most interesting about Doom to you?
Oh God.
Lots of stuff, probably, right?
Yeah, like the gameplay. I'm kind of a gameplay guy. Like I could deal with ugly maps so long as they play well.
That's good.
It's addictive. I've tried repeatedly to quit this game, and I just keep coming back. Like Quake comes out, I was gonna become a Quake guy and move on to true 3D and fuck Doom, because it's old and I just keep coming back to it every goddamn time.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah, Doom's really amazing. You've been involved with the community for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, I started in '95.
Wow.
But I wasn't on the internet until late '97.
Okay.
So the first 2 years of me being involved with Doom was just single player at home using shovelware CDs and reading the books to figure out how to make levels and following the instructions. And
that's pretty cool, man.
Doing stuff that way, and I would. You'd play the recommended ones like Demon. I think Demon Gate just had a bunch of recommendations, so I'd play all of those, and then I'd look for the authors who made those recommended ones and just play everything they had, and then I'd do some random stuff just to get a good idea of what was out there, because I knew I was going online sometime. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah.
And then I just want to. I kind of try to outdo what I was playing on the shovelware discs as far as skill and stuff.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
I have a couple shovelware CDs myself. I do have Demon Gate. I have the first D Zone.
Yeah.
I also have
I don't remember.
Yeah, I also have a Death Day or Death Days or something, which that CD is kind of a mess because it's got all kinds of user interface stuff that doesn't work on PCs today.
Yeah.
So you actually have to dig through the CD to find the WAD files in it. But most of the shovelware CDs pretty much have the same stuff.
Yeah, even Maximum Doom really had the same stuff. It was 5,000 levels that were all just packed onto it, and you played through all the same ones.
Yeah.
But it was it was fun, but no one, unless you go to the electronics boutique store, no one actually no one you worked with played Doom or anything, at least in my case, because I wasn't in college or anything.
Oh, so you had
already.
Are you saying you had trouble finding people that played Doom with you?
Oh, I've never. It took
Well, there's shovelware compilation CDs. Not a whole lot of people have them.
I mean, there was a lot of people. They everyone I knew played the strategy games at the time were Panzer General or the PlayStation games. Actually, my first time playing Doom was on the PlayStation because my computer at the time wasn't good enough to handle anything.
Really?
It wasn't. Yeah, I owned at the time Doom came out. All I owned was an 8088, which had 40 megabytes hard drive and I think 2 megs RAM. So it wasn't until that tax return season that I had enough money to buy a real computer.
That's crazy, man. 40 megabytes?
Yeah.
Like the most like the usual megawatt that comes out is 40 megabytes.
Oh, I know. It's insane. It's sad, really, but
yeah. How far we've come.
Yeah, I mean that was like that piece of shit machine cost $2,000 back in its day, and it's like, oh.
I know, and like now you can find a computer, like a pretty good computer, for like less than 500.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. Like the computer that I have, I have a pretty decent computer now because my brother gave me one for Christmas. He gave me his old computer, which was a gaming computer, because he bought parts to build his own one, so he just gave me his old one, which is like way better than what I was using. I had I got this PC that I think that they were like using in like an office building or something. I found it on eBay, and it was $50, and it's Windows XP, and it's got like, I think like maybe like a 5 gigabyte hard drive, but or no, not, it's probably much more than 5 gigs. It's maybe closer to 50. But it runs Doom perfectly. It does exactly what, and that's really the only reason I got it, was was something to play Doom on, and it only cost me $50 to get, and it runs Doom perfectly, and it runs my map editors and all the other stuff that I want to use it for, and that's what I've been using for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's cool because you can get, like, if you wanted to just play Doom, you can get the technology for it like pretty cheap these days.
Yeah, I made a deal with work to keep my old work computer because it was Windows XP, ran Doom, flawlessly, and XP is great for Doom and all my really old games. So yeah, I was like, come on guys, just give me this old computer. You're gonna throw it away. So they did. So,
that's cool. I have Windows 10 now, and
I hate it.
You hate it? I've had such bad experiences with it too. I liked it a little bit when I first got it. I was like, "Ooh, this is pretty neat. It does a lot of cool stuff." But every once in a while, it'll update, and it'll take hours to update. And whenever it does, it like ruins some of my things. So like I have, for example, I hate the new Microsoft Paint. I use an older version. I found a download link for it. And every time my computer updates, it finds a way to replace Microsoft Paint with the new one. And I'm like, why do you keep doing this to me?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's so annoying. And the way that things have to keep updating all the time, that's what really drives me crazy, is because like what's really creepy with Windows 10 especially is, I was talking to Looper about this the other day. Like when my computer updates and I turn it on, it'll just have a blank black screen, and it just says hi in the middle. It just says hi, and it's talking to me. And then after that, it's like, we're just changing some things around so your computer can run faster. And I'm like, what are you doing? Don't touch my stuff. And I don't know why Microsoft went this direction where it wants to like automate everything, because what I like so much about PCs is being in control. And like you kind of lose that when you switch to something like Mac, because everything is like pretty pre-formatted the way it is. And like Microsoft PCs are so like Windows is so malleable. You can like change things and work with these individual files and organize things the way you want it. And I'm like, I feel like I'm losing that with something like Windows 10. But that's just my experience. Maybe I've just not experienced enough with the software. But I don't know. It's so weird and alien to me, especially when I'm switching from Windows XP.
No, I'm not a fan of the Windows 10 with the whole Cortana thing. It's like, get off my machine, Cortana. I don't want your help.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for your help. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
at least I kept my old machines.
Yeah. And my computer still runs Doom even when it's on Windows 10, so that's a good thing. As long as Doom still runs on everything, that's good. So you've been so like you were talking about Quake earlier. So like you were around like when Quake came out?
Yeah. I one of the first things online I did was download the Quake shareware thing. That took a long time on a 56K modem. I did that.
That's funny.
Perks of working nights, I guess. no one's up at 4 a.m.
What did you think about Quake when you first tried it?
I thought it was okay, but it wasn't as good as Doom in my opinion. I hated the models.
Yeah.
I just like I didn't finish it, so I got up to like what did I do? I ended up buying it, but I never finished the Quake. I got
the entire game.
I did the first episode, and somewhere in the second episode, I just stopped. Part of it was I was becoming really good at editing Doom, so I would like go into a game, take its ideas, and I go back to Doom and see if I could try that in Doom.
You know, what you're describing it sounds very similar to my experience with most games too, because by the time I really got into like map editing, I was like, there is nothing I can't create. So
yeah.
So like almost every time I would play a game, I would be like, oh, well, I can just make this in Doom. Like every time I would like play a new level in a game or something, I was like, I could just make this in Doom. It's not going to be. It might take me a few hours, but I like the gameplay of Doom better. So like, there's no reason for me to be playing this game if I can just make these levels that appear to be cool, but they're just, I don't know. I got super cynical around like 2007 and 2008 because like on Doom World forums, people would post these topics about new games that came out. Like I remember I got into like this big argument about Crysis because people are like, "Whoa, this game looks awesome," and I'm just like, "Nah, it's stupid. Look how like you just kind of walk in a straight line and like it doesn't even look very hard, and you can do all this stuff, but like it's not anything that you would need to in a shooter. Like Doom is so simple in the way. You move and you shoot and you can use switches, and that's like your only actions in the game, and that's all you need in order to have a good time. So like when all these like games and stuff introduce stuff like throwing grenades and like special power ups and like weapon modifications and all this customization and stuff, all that stuff doesn't really matter to me as long as I'm doing what I want to do, and that's moving and shooting and killing stuff.
No, I'm pretty much the same boat. Like, if they'd make a lot more money if they'd stop making cutscenes. You know, it's like their budget would be cut in half, and they'd be more profitable.
But, what are they doing? Like that's the impression that I got. Like the last Call of Duty game I played, it was almost like 80% cutscenes. That like the whole campaign. Like they kind of like fake it in a way, like they give you control. Like how like in Half-Life, like a scientist will be like talking to you, but you can still move around and like you can jump on stuff and press things and shoot and do whatever you want to do, but you still have to like wait and listen to these people talk because like they like stop the gameplay. Like you can't move forward until the scientist is finished talking and then activates the next door so you can move forward. And I got that impression playing like Call of Duty because it was you can still like look around and do stuff, but like there's so much like being on rails and like just like listening and watching everything that's going on and not actually playing the game. And by the time you actually get into the game, like the gameplay's so stale anyway because you're moving in like you just follow a predefined path and you shoot some guys when you see them, and it's just not exciting.
No. Like I don't know, modern shooters that I enjoy right now would be Sniper Elite, very open world, but you have your mission objectives. You can do it pretty much however you want. It's very open. It's almost like a giant deathmatch level in its design with entrances and exits and stuff, but very minimal cutscenes, and you could skip them completely.
That's good.
And then right now I'm playing through Dishonored 2. It's okay. They improved it over the first one. There's some really amazing levels. Like this one level, you lose all your powers, but you still can use your weapons. But they give you this item where you can see in the past. And you can use that item to travel to the past and then travel back to the present and stuff. So you're walking around, you're holding up the item, and you could like look through the level and it's like in the past it's pristine and all that, while to the to your sides you look and it's just rotting and decayed and stuff. It's the coolest thing ever. So it's worth playing that game just for that level. But that introduced some really cool mechanics. Like you go in the past, you break something so you create a hole in a wall in the present and stuff. It was like, that was clever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's cool stuff like that. Like there's like I remember reading some stuff about John Carmack, and like by the time he was like finished with Quake, he was kind of like losing interest in video games, which is like why he's like focused on like virtual reality and stuff right now. Like there's really not as much, like there's really not that much left to do as far as innovation when it comes to like 3D games. So like you really to make like a good game, you really got to like think out of the box. Because like I mean we already have, I mean there's not that much room for innovation. There's not a whole lot of avenues left to explore in new games. And
no, not really. It's pretty much everything cool's already been done.
Right.
It's just incrementalism now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the impression I get, and that's why I keep going back to Doom, because it does everything that I could want in a shooter really, really well. And then there's just this unlimited amount of customization when you can like make your own levels and play the levels that people make and all kinds of stuff like that. But I feel like that's probably the most fascinating thing to me about Doom is just the amount of levels that are available to download.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's like what?
There's more than I'll ever have time to play in my entire life.
Yeah. How many are there? 16,000 now?
I don't know. I could look at my, like I do have like a WADs folder, which I found like a web crawler program that downloaded everything from the id Games archive, but that was like 5-6 years ago. So what I have in there is kind of out of date, but I know I have like hundreds of thousands of files in it, but I think that's also including text files too. But
so how do you organize that? Do you just do it like
I have it organized the same way. I have it organized the same way id Games is, which I personally don't prefer, but because like they have like the alphabetical order, but they have like every 3 letters, so they have like A through C, D through F, H through I.
Yeah.
And that's not how I would organize it myself, but I do keep it that way so that everything is like in line with the actual id Games archive in case I'm looking for something.
All right. Yeah, I started doing by author. Like I would take every author I liked out of a megawad. I'd find all their levels, give that guy a folder.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Make a copy of the megawad I first found him in, like. And I would just keep doing that, and so I have like a whole list of authors, and then unplayed levels, and then stuff.
That's pretty cool. That's a smart idea to actually like extract the levels especially from like community projects, because my experience playing like community projects, I tend to judge the project as a whole, like how cohesive it is, and not so much and like not so much on the individual level basis. And that's kind of sucks for the people that made the maps, because like if a project is kind of sucky, but there's like some really good maps in it, those particular people probably don't get a lot of credit, at least from me. Because I don't like, I often don't pay attention to like who the actual author of it is of each map. So if a project's not going very well, I just probably won't play through the whole thing, and that sucks for the people that like work on the later parts of the megawad, because I don't get to see their cool stuff. Yeah, that's a cool idea though, sorting by author, because like if you do like every map designer kind of has their own traits, right? Like you kind of they kind of have like their own little like just little details that they do that makes their maps kind of recognizable, and it would be especially noticeable if you like got to play every map by a particular author.
Well, because I just I forget why I did it. Well, it was easier for me to find maps by people I liked. So, and then I was like, oh yeah, they were in this project and they were in that project, so it's just a nice way to sort things.
Yeah.
And then it in that thread you started today about this history, it could give you a sense of history by saying, okay, this guy started here, he worked on this, and this, and joined this, met with this guy, who they influenced each other and stuff. It's a way to, just a different way to,
look at it.
Yeah. But
that's cool. Yeah, it's that's okay. The whole Dune community is just it's so fascinating. Because there's so many, like, there's different time periods in the way different maps were made. Like you can almost distinctly tell like there is, at least there was a particular time for me where I could like distinctly tell the difference between a map that was made in 1994 versus a map that was made in like 1996. There's just like just the way Doom has like gradually evolved. You can just like see how things have changed and like what was important during that time period. Because what I'm seeing more now, especially like when you pay attention to like the forums, a lot of people seem to be really focused on gameplay, which is a very good thing. But like there was a time before that, like around the time maybe like around like Gothic death matches came out, where detail was like very important, and so people like took their map design very seriously in such a way where they wanted to make maps that looked the coolest and that were the most like had the most sectors in them and had just the prettiest looking maps. And while there are map designers that do focus on that these days, it doesn't seem as
important.
I wouldn't say important. There's probably a better word for it, but the community is not as saturated with those types of people that consider it to be important.
Okay.
So yeah, there's an excessive focus on gameplay. So like it seems like Slaughterfest like really took off in like the last 5-6 years. And that I don't think many people. I think there was only a couple people actually doing that way back then. And those were like pretty like niche type mappers. But yeah, like I mean, there's just the way things kind of shift, like depending on what kind of what year you're looking at. That would be like a good idea to like actually separate WODs by like the time period they were made, and then like you can kind of like actually like play the maps and evaluate what was important during that particular time period. There's just so much history in Doom; it's amazing.
I've been it's kind of funny though, because it's like I've been around, I don't know, quite a while, and it's like at the time when I joined Plutonia 2, I never thought it'd be historical or anything like that. I just thought it'd be good, and stuff. So it is neat.
Yeah.
Now that you're looking back, you're like, oh wow, yeah, that was kind of important. you know?
Even just like being, I've been making maps for maybe like I don't know how many years, but I do keep like a folder of everything that I've created, and so I'll look back at my maps and I'll look at some of like the first ones I made and compare them to like the newest ones I made, and it's really funny because I'll look at like some of the original maps that I made and I would be like, well, this is like a really smart idea. I just never really executed it very well, and that's why this map didn't come out very well. And it's like cool to like look at some of my newer maps and see like the skills that I've learned since then, and like and like see how like my own map developing process came along. And for like people that are just starting in mapping for the first time, they don't really know that feeling yet because they're just trying. And there's so much competition these days. I know some people who are trying to get involved in mapping and they're kind of intimidated by all the good stuff that's out. And that is I understand that concern, but it's there's no reason not to start trying, because your level design process will evolve over time, and you'll really see the differences.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everyone's first maps will suck. And there's like a famous saying, your first 10 games will suck if you're in the industry. So it's just, you know, practice makes perfect. You get better and you get better and stuff. So
yeah. Do you have?
I would love to redo my first 3 maps, just because they don't meet my standards now. You know? And I look at some of their arrangements with the line defs and stuff. I'm like, that's kind of clunky. I should have did it this way or that way.
Yeah.
But
yeah, what I find is when I play like some of my older maps, I can almost see what I was thinking about when I can almost like it kind of triggers a memory where I like remember like sometimes I'll even remember the music that I was listening to when I was making the map, and I'll just like remember like what was on my mind, like what was important to me when I was designing this level, and sometimes it's like really good ideas that I've like forgotten about as I've like learned to do other stuff, and it's cool to like see my old stuff and be like, I should really like remake this and make like a better version of this. It's something that's like pretty interesting to me as a level designer, is actually like looking at my old stuff and like seeing like the old ideas that I've had, and it's map design is just an awesome thing. It's just being in control and like being able to like control the kind of story that the player gets to experience, and the kind of gameplay that happens to them, and like what I've been really interested in lately is it has been gameplay related, and it's like the act of like trapping the player and like finding like these little like kind of like luring the player in these certain places with like a key or like a special weapon or something like that, and using that to my advantage to get them to like fall into my traps. And that's something that's like a skill that I'm like trying to develop. That's really interesting to me at the moment. But there were like times in the past where I was like really focused on detail and texture alignment and stuff, and like it seems funny because like these days I don't really care about that kind of stuff anymore. But of course it's important. I have to not forget that.
No, but like getting the player to harm themselves with a trap's fun. It's because it's tricky to, they're already paranoid, so to get them to do that is special actually, and you just gotta luring them in is the hard part,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've learned some stuff, but it does take time. It's a long. It takes a lot of like play testing. You have to see people play your own maps, and then you can kind of predict what they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, and then the other problem is like like in the map I sent you, there's an instant kill trap, and I'm worried that it's too far into the map.
Yeah, that's kind of punishing.
Be appreciated, but it's like it's a medium-sized map, so it's like it's only 6 minutes of your time by the time you get there, I assume. But it's like I could be overestimating or underestimating the player's
kind of
reaction.
Like they're like intuitive.
So I'm like,
skill. Yeah, what I've another challenge that I've had when I was mapping was it's hard to like know what the player is going to see. I had this conversation with one guy one time where he was having trouble with this map because like people wouldn't find like they would just walk right past these switches that he put in the map, and he thought they were, when he designed the map he knew that he put those switches there, and he felt like they were in plain sight, but like the player didn't see them as they were playing. So like you almost have to like make this assumption that the player is going to be dumb and not see the stuff that you want them to see. So like you don't want to go too crazy hiding stuff. But yeah, it's like playing a map that you made is so much different than playing a map that somebody else made, because you just you're seeing it for the first time. You don't know where everything is. So like it gets crazy when it comes to like managing ammunition and like if the player's going to find the secrets you want them to find and all that kind of stuff. But it's a fun experience. It's because it's so rewarding to make something that people like to play. like to be able to know that you're something that you spent hours and hours on is instrumental in somebody's fun experience with Doom.
True. Uh, yeah, it's nice when you get feedback and they're like, "I love your level." It's
that feels
no
so
better
nice.
feeling. Or even just watching a video of someone playing your level. Because I went years without feedback, and you're like, you're just wondering, you're going crazy wondering, and okay, and then out of the blue, hey, like your level, you're like, yes, but
you have to you really do have to be involved with the community in order to make pretty decent maps, because like you said, there was a time period where I took a long break from mapping to work on my own projects, and I got kind of carried away with my own ideas, and these were I was kind of exploring these concepts that aren't really they're not that prevalent in the community. So I wanted to kind of do something that blended all these kind of cool ideas together. And the whole time I was working on the project, I was making stuff and deleting stuff because I was I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. And but the concept of, but the actual getting the actual feedback and stuff, and getting people to play your maps and watch videos of them playing it, it's so much more powerful than going on your own guesswork.
Well, yeah. Although, the map I sent you, I'm kind of coming at it from where there were certain things missing in modern maps, and I'm like, okay, I want traps, death traps.
Yeah.
So I threw one in, and I miss little incidental areas, that are just inconsequential, and they're there, but they're not, they don't take 10 seconds to go through. Because everything now is really, I don't know, efficient.
Yeah.
It's good. It's amazing even, but it's there's very little stray thoughts in maps anymore.
Yeah. And these what kind of death traps are these? Are they how are they are they instant death? What exactly is going on in these traps?
I put the player against you have a choice of 2 teleporters, and I signposted it pretty well. I practically gave it away, so it's I did give it away, I think, but you take one and you teleport into your voodoo doll and you die. The other one leads you to the red key, but it's pretty. But and then there's a crusher trap, and the crusher trap hallway, I'm not sure if I signposted that enough, but there's 2 safe areas, and if you're really quick, you could avoid it. So, and then the other trap in there is more of a nuisance trap. So.
Yeah, I've been trying to focus on signposting too. That's not always easy to do though, because sometimes you do leave signs and stuff and little breadcrumbs that people can see, and they'll just blaze right past it and not even look at it. And,
my problem with signposting is I'd overpopulate an area, so their corpses would hide my clues, and it's dumb shit. You should have, cut the enemies in half in that area. Maybe they wouldn't fall onto the dead player sprites.
Yeah.
But
So you're using dead players as kind of a signpost.
Yeah, I used a dead player sprite as a signpost, and I forget. It's basically a gibbed corpse.
Yeah.
As well, right next to it. It's I'm thinking that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, in most cases it is. Yeah, it's in most cases it is. It does. Some people don't see it though, because if you look at Doom 1, for example, they have dead bodies everywhere and they don't really mean anything. But but sometimes they do, and it's really hard to get people to see what you want them to see. And so like when it comes to like laying dead bodies and stuff, like what I'll do is I'll just remove all the monsters. So a player walks into a room and all they see is a dead body, and that's like the focus of the room. Um, yeah, but there's all kinds of like different little things that you can do, and but you also don't want to like play. I don't know, like because I do like to trust that my players are like kind of smart and they can figure out things for themselves, and I don't want to like baby them, you know. So you don't want to like
Right.
give it away too much. You want them to think a little bit. Um, yeah, with like solving puzzles and stuff. Like I remember there was a time I was really getting frustrated with how often I would see um, like people would use like doors that had like switches next to them, and the switches would be like in immediate proximity of the door, and I'm like, there's like no puzzle here. Come on, like I'm just kind of like blazing through this map, and there's no I'm not really doing any thinking, and for some people that's kind of what they want out of Doom, but for me, I wanted to be like tested, and that was my experience playing with like 1994 WADs because like a lot of them have like secret areas that are required to beat the map.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You had to find like wall textures that were like sometimes they wouldn't even be like misaligned or mistextured. You would just have to figure it out. And I remember there was like this one project I was playing called like Castle Phobos or something, and there were just I spent like 30 minutes on this map because I got stalled at this one point. I didn't realize that there was like a hidden door that you had to shoot that had a key behind it. I was so mad when I found it, but I was also like kind of fascinated that this kind of map like required this much thinking in order to solve.
I remember. I don't know if it was a 95 watt or it was made in that style, but you had to press a tree to. They hid the switch for the door under a tree, and you had to just go up and push the tree, and it's like, why would you do that? You know,
That's hilarious.
I had to look in the editor for that one. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah, that pisses me off when I have to stop playing a map and look in the editor to like figure out what it is, and then once you figure it out, it's like, oh my god, that was so stupid.
Yeah, but I remember like the 90. It might have been the 95, 96 era WADs. Like they would raise a door like 2 units above the floor, and just you would have to spot the extra pixels on the floor flats to realize there was a door there and stuff. So I mean,
God.
Back then they really wanted you had to know the game. You had to know the textures and everything, just to how they should look, just for it to be instinctual.
Yeah.
You know.
That's so silly. 1994 WADs are amazing in that way. Like, I know a lot of people hate them, but I think they're so fascinating, and just the historical nature behind them too is because like because like sometimes you play these maps and like Doom was huge at the time, so like almost everybody made a map, and it didn't matter if they were good at it or not. They just wanted to make a map. So you get like
you probably get credit in college for making a Doom map, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I wonder. I was too young at the time, so I wouldn't have known. But that would have been pretty cool. I always thought it would be a cool idea to like actually make a Doom map as like a simulation for something for like a school project. But that's nothing that ever really came to fruition. I did once. I made a presentation for. I had a public speaking course, and I had a cool teacher. Our first assignment was literally talk about anything. So I picked Doom, of course, because that's the only thing that's ever on my mind all the time. So I made this whole like presentation. It actually came out really well. It was one of the best public speaking presentations I've ever given. But I made this presentation where I talked about like all the different avenues of Doom. Like you can download maps, you can download gameplay mods. People have different kinds of styles. There's like hundreds of thousands of WADs to download. And like I converted. I spent. I think I made like this statistic or something where like if you took all the maps and you spent 5 minutes playing every single one, you would have like 8 or 9 years of content worth of Doom to play. And
I remember that statistic.
Yeah, did you see that presentation? I made it with Google Slides. I really should make like a video of it and like me like doing the presentation because it came out really well.
No, there was like in '90, Game Informer magazine or whatever at the time. They had like, if you played every level ever made, and it took you like 10 minutes a piece, it would take you this many hours, which equaled 2, 3, 4 years at the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's just crazy to think about that. There's that much. Like if you played it nonstop, back to back, no sleeping, no breaks, nothing, you would have that many hours of content. That's just it's so telling of like how amazing Doom is. You just get that many. I mean, I've been hearing stuff like in like modern video games where they're like actually like they're like when like these RPGs come out and stuff. They're like, oh, we have thousands of hours of gameplay, and it's a lot of it isn't actual gameplay. It's like it's exploring the world and doing side quests and like the amount of time
conversations and
yeah talking to people and like these like fetch quests that make you backtrack all over the place and like okay I guess that counts as time but like is it like worth your while, is it actually like good gameplay? And when it comes to Doom, that's not always the case. I mean there's plenty of WoDs that aren't fun to play, but there's many thousands of them that are just tons of fun. And so like you just get everything you could possibly want out of Doom for someone like me who's interested in fast-paced gameplay and chaotic projectile dodging and just shooting monsters with big weapons and explosions and all that kind of stuff, and being in a lot of control. That's what I like a lot about Doom too.
Yeah, it because I remember, it took like a year or two, and then the game stopped being scary, and it was like, you know what, I know what I'm doing, I'm in charge. Somewhere there's a shift in your playing style.
Yeah.
After a while, and you just like very little phases you.
Yeah, right.
And then you encounter Punisher for the first time, and you're like, oh, you get slaughtered. But but it yeah, I remember that. It was like, because initially it was scary. Everything was creepy and shit.
Yeah.
And like 3 imps and a Baron would freak you out. But then you go into rooms where there's 10 Barons, 10 Keikos, a Cyber Demon, and a bunch of Spectres and shit. And you just walk right through it after a while. It's just...
Yeah, you just see it and you're like, okay, how am I going to solve this? And that's pretty much it. And it's like it's just a little bit of a puzzle that you have to solve, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, that was my experience too. I remember especially being really terrified of Plutonia because they had arc vials on the first level, and I was like, holy shit, this is going to be crazy. And I remember like when as a kid when I played it, even with like the cheat codes on, I was like, damn, this is like really crazy. Because there was times where I would get like mashed into a corner by like revenants and stuff, and I would just be like shooting my way out while there's like hordes of revenants just like punching me into the corner, and I couldn't move. And I had the IDDQD cheat on, but it was just like I was just thinking like if I didn't have this cheat on, I would have been losing. Like if I could lose less than 0% health, I'd be like into negative thousands.
Yeah, Plutonia Caged did me in. I mean, that's only the 4th level. It was like,
Caged is a tough one.
Yeah, and then like it was like, I must have been just playing dumb that day. It was like half an hour dying, and then I'm like, oh, there's an arrow. And the game just opens up. It's like, good times.
Yeah, it's fun when you like figure out those like little like as we were saying there's like little puzzles that you solve, because like sometimes you'll be in a situation like in Caged where you're just surrounded by monsters, and the solution isn't necessarily to kill all the monsters, is to get out of there and get to cover. And it's cool like when you figure stuff out like that. That's what makes it like it's another thing that like makes it so rewarding to play, is when you actually like outsmart the mapper with their crazy traps.
It's neat that the game could be about combat or movement, or it shifts back and forth.
Yeah. Right, depending on like what the mapper's intention is, you can make all kinds of different stuff. Like some people have made like horror themed WADs, and they've done it really well too. And then other people are really focused on like combat and like really intense hard gameplay, and we have plenty of WADs like that. And yeah, there's just all kinds of, or you can just make something that's just atmospheric to look at. All kinds of different things you can do.
Horror theme WADs. What are some of those? Because I haven't really. I'm kind of coming back to it again.
I couldn't really, I can't really name any specific examples, but there are like some WADs that are just like really dark, and they don't use a lot of monsters in them. Like I think there's a map in this project No End in Sight by Natural 20 and Zazer, where it has, I can't remember if it only has a couple monsters in it, but the monsters don't come in till the very end. And it's very jarring because you're so used to a game like Doom where there's monsters in every single room, and you're just like kind of wandering around in this kind of it's a hell themed level. It's like a recreation of the Inferno from Doom 1, and
okay.
You're just kind of like walking around and like looking at these places, and there's these places where it looks like there's like these sacrificial ceremonial stuff where they have like blood baptisms and stuff, and you're just kind of like wandering around, and there's some puzzles to solve, and it's not you're playing in the map for like a good like 10-15 minutes before you see a single monster, and
oh wow.
And then you get to this trap, and then you fight Hell Barons, and you're like, holy shit. I would like you like at that point you're so adjusted to the fact that there's no monsters on the map that like once you actually see the Hell Baron for the first time at the end of the map, it's actually really intimidating.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like really, it's really remarkable how he was able to create that effect. It was really impressive to me. And that drew attention. That's something that I kind of like realized recently how important it is that you don't put monsters everywhere, because that kind of tires the gameplay out. You can actually create these really interesting feelings if you space out the monsters in such a way where you have some periods where it's like massive chaos, and then other periods where it's like really quiet and disturbing.
Yeah. I've made that mistake before. Like in Dementia, I kind of fatigued the player with way too many monsters. I should have emptied out some areas and that, but
it's not a mistake. I mean, if that's something you wanted to do, then go for it. But
well, at the time, it was what I wanted to do, but you know, it wasn't well received.
Yeah,
like, it was like, well, I mean, the map was, people loved it, and then a few hated it, but a common amongst those who hated it was like it was too long. So it was like, you know, it was kind of a grind fest. So if I had just taken maybe 25% out, it would have been better received.
Yeah, well, you're not going to please everybody.
No.
And you said it yourself. I mean, you'll play anything. It doesn't matter what it looks like. So like if it's what you want to play, then by all means go for it. But,
yeah. I mean, I do like the better looking stuff, but like today I was playing Realms of Chaos, and
I love that.
Stupid fun levels.
Yeah, I played that recently.
Not pretty, but they're fun. I wanted a nice, easy go of things.
Yeah.
And Realm of Chaos is pretty easy. You can burn through a bunch of maps and stuff, so it was just a nice way to relax.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's one thing that I've been wondering lately too, is because I don't get as much relaxation from playing Doom as I used to, because I've already played all of the easy WADs, and it seems like the what is considered to be normal difficulty is like it's gotten really high these days. If you play like any of like the most recent Mega WADs and stuff that come out, there's a lot of really hard stuff.
Yeah, they don't make for they only make shit for ultraviolence on up nowadays, it seems like.
Yeah, you know. I gotta tone it down. I play everything on ultraviolence because that's just what I expected. Well, I don't know. One of the reasons
I play on Hurt Me Plenty. I don't care. I play the game just to kill things and just move through as many maps as possible. And
yeah, it's like
violence kind of gets in that way. You know?
It's this macho thing that I can't seem to get over, that I have to play everything on ultra violence. I just have to be the best at Doom. And so I play everything on a skill level that's just too hard for me to beat. And then I play through Megawads, and I get through maybe the first half of it, and then by the time I get past map 15, map 16, it starts getting way too hard. And I just don't finish the thing, and it sucks because there's a lot of great maps that come at the very end of Megawads, and I don't even see most of them because I wimp out before. I just rage quit before I actually get to the good stuff.
Well, you can always go back. I mean, you know.
Yeah. But with some source ports, I usually play with PR Boom, and if you start saving on a particular skill level, you can't change the skill level within your save. So if you're already playing through a Megawad, you're kind of stuck with that. I think so. Maybe.
Oh, wow.
Well, have you had a different experience? I don't know. Maybe it's something I haven't looked into.
Huh.
Well, I don't know, but yeah, I do. I don't even really play with saves that often either, because I guess I'm just such a masochist. I have to play everything pistol starred, and I don't know.
See, I never did that. I always carried my weapons over. I do the continuous play. I figured I earned them in the first few maps. I'm keeping them.
Yeah.
You know.
I've been wondering that myself lately. I wonder why I torture myself with these made up rules. But I think it was because I played Doom 2 using pistol starts, and that made that way more interesting because you get the super shotgun on map 2. And,
yeah, that's way too early. They should have.
Yeah.
Map 6, I could see giving it to you. But,
right, map 6 probably would have been better. Yeah, but you get the super shotgun by map 2, and by then you're just mowing down everything.
Yeah, and it is fun though.
And it's all easy monsters too. So you're just fighting shotgun guys, chain gun guys, imps, pinky demons, and they just all drop immediately as soon as you fight them. So the gameplay becomes super easy by then. But so I guess that maybe that left a bad taste in my mouth, and now I'm I think every map is designed from pistol start, so I just play maps that way. But yeah, I've been wondering that myself. I actually made a thread a few years ago, and I got in an argument with I think it was Cloned Pickle, about whether what it actually means for a map to have too much ammo. And I couldn't really come up with a very logically smart answer, what it means to have too much ammo. Because I mean, if you're running out of ammo, all that really means is you don't get to use that gun. That's
right.
Really.
But too much ammo, usually it's shotgun ammo that people overfill a map with.
Yeah.
You know, and you end up with. Anytime you end up with more than 70 shells at the end of a map, you've put too much in there.
Right.
You know, realistically, you want a mapper to end up with almost nothing. Which, I mean, a player to end up with almost nothing, but
yeah,
that's hard to plan for.
Yeah.
So, but you shoot for a quarter of whatever a backpack holds. I don't remember the exact numbers. So 50 bullets, 20 shells, and et cetera, et cetera.
But so this is I feel like this is kind of a subjective, made-up rule that I've kind of put on myself, because the way I think of it, because I for example, I've been some things I like to do sometimes when I'm playing an easy WOD, I'll reduce the HUD so that I can't see the HUD. All I can see is my weapon. You can't see health, ammo, or anything. Okay. And I'll play as if I have infinite ammo and 1% health. So I'll be super cautious of not taking any damage, but I'll just go crazy with my firing because I just don't care. And the thing is, you really can't tell the difference between whether you have 70 shells or 5. And it because your gun does the same thing every time, and every once in a while you'll occasionally pick up a 4 shells pickup, or a shotgun that's on the ground or something. Just get a couple little shells that scattered along, and you don't really notice when you're low on ammo until you actually run out and you have to switch weapons. And at that time, it's a little frightening, but because like sometimes you'll think that you have like 60 shells and you only have 0, and when that happens, it is a little frightening. But like that's really all it is though. Is if you have a lot of too much ammo, a lot of ammo, or not much at all, you're gonna still effectively the same thing. I guess what it does is it kind of if a player is watching their ammo and kind of like distributing it in such a way. So like if they have maybe they only have like 10 shells left, but they have 200 bullets, they'll switch to the chain gun out of principle to kind of like level things out. But
right.
when it comes to having like too much ammo, I can't really think of a very like serious reason why that would be a problem with a map. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I can't think of like a very good reason why that would be a problem. And it's not to say that I would encourage everybody to just like fill every like every hallway with shell boxes everywhere until there's like way too much for you to carry. But like it doesn't really affect the gameplay whether you have just enough ammo or too much. There's just less items that you're picking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I mean it's fun either way. Running out can be fun, especially if you have like a berserk pack. I'm not particularly good with
that's
those,
true. That is true. That's why I wouldn't like normally encourage people to like just flood a map with ammo, because it does get, in a way, it does get kind of I guess it can get like kind of stale if you don't have to have any concern for how much you're shooting.
Right.
So like I know there are like some like pretty decent like survival type levels where you really have to ration out your ammo and make sure you get like a perfectly accurate shot every time. But that's a different kind of gameplay, and it's not my favorite kind. I like being reckless.
Well, yeah. I mean, Doom, you're supposed to be reckless. It rewards it.
Right.
you know, it's. But like, I don't know, ways to like. I always found maps where with too much ammo of a particular type, it tends to either be all hallways or like if you go from like hallways to open areas to hallway and you just keep mixing it up and you change heights and stuff, you tend to switch out your guns because it's advantageous to you to like, take out the stuff on ledges with a chain gun or a bazooka or the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And then switch back to the shotguns while you're in the hall. I don't know. It's
an interesting
hard
debate
to plan for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that a lot of playtesting fixes.
Yeah.
But you can never fully get it right. You could come close the more you playtest, but you can't. You need a bunch of players and all their different styles, and you just have to at some point say, "Oh, good enough," because you'll never get it 100% right.
Yeah, I had that question came to mind to me about having too much ammo when I was designing a map after I had played I was playing some maps on like vanilla co-op settings, and in vanilla co-op ammunition doesn't respawn.
Okay.
That's like a common thing in like source ports where they have like these DM flags that let you trigger item respawning. But if you play on co-op in vanilla, items do not respawn. So if someone picks up all the ammunition in the map and then dies with it, that ammunition's gone forever.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really nasty. So what happens is the weapons will stay. So you can pick up the weapons. You can only pick up the weapons once per life. But so if you find a shotgun, you can pick it up and it'll stay there, but you can't like pick it up again if you need ammo later.
Okay.
So that's like one thing. So like every time you respawn, you can pick up a weapon, but you only get those initial 8 shells that it gives you. And if somebody picks up all the ammo in the map and then dies with it, that stuff's gone. So as a kind of like a caveat for that, I was designing this map where I wanted it to work in co-op. So I created this closet where I just put like tons of shotgun shells in it. And I made it kind of a really obscure secret. Like you had to like make a certain amount of progress on the map before it even revealed that it was a secret, and then you would have to find the secret after that. But like the one thing I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I'm a player, if I'm playing the single player and I'm not playing a co-op, and I find this room with thousands of shotgun shells in it, is this too much ammo? And then I had to think, like, wait, is this even? Who cares if it's too much ammo? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm going to be killing monsters anyway. I guess it matters when it comes to like, well, I'm not even sure if it matters if it comes to playing continuously either.
No, I mean,
it could.
It's better to have too much than too little, because like,
yeah,
like if I end up with no ammo and I have to punch monsters, I'm in trouble.
That'll kill a map for me. Yeah, I won't even. I'll give up on the map if I have to like pistol a Hell Knight to death.
Yeah, I'll end up dying and restarting, and but having too much, it's the lesser sin, It's,
but
the end of the world.
I actually thought of another thing. I guess if you were working on a map that was part of a community project where you did not know like what the other mappers were planning, that could really fuck things up. Because if you give the player a rocket launcher with 100 rockets, and then they go into the next map and it's supposed to be a berserk punching map, and the player just blows through it with the rocket launcher they got from the previous level, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, but I mean, nowadays it seems like the project leader tends to like stream after everything's put together. They tweak it one time before release.
That's true.
Like, or they should, just for problems like that, they really should.
Yeah.
But because in the past there were some, I think Community Chest 1 had that problem where if you played continuously in some levels, you'd end up overpowered going into the next level.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but
I don't know.
I wonder if that's like, I guess that's probably why maps have gotten so much harder these days. I think because like people kind of they're like aware of these things where like a player will carry mega armor from the previous level and find all the secrets before they exit, and then they exit the map with like all the good guns and all the ammo and stuff, so they can kind of it's a little more fair that way. That's what I think. I feel like save scumming and all that stuff, like those are kind of like normal tactics these days. So like it's okay to make a map as hard as humanly possible because we can assume that people are going to be using these tactics and still playing fair.
True. Well, I mean, everyone's I figure the average number of years is probably in the 12-year range minimum for most players at this point. Because you have people who've been playing over 20 years, and then I don't know how many people just discovered Doom, but I'm sure there's a few. But I figure the average is like 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
So everyone's at least that good, So,
yeah. Yeah, our skills definitely develop over time. I've certainly noticed my skills develop over time because I played Alien Vendetta recently. Well, not that recently. It was a couple months ago. But I remember having a really hard time with it. But I was like breezing right through it, just like considering because I played so much other stuff that was like way harder. It made Alien Vendetta seem not as hard. And I remember like Hell Revealed 2 being like super intimidating for me. I could barely get past the first couple maps, and I was like, all right, I'm never gonna beat this. But I can actually get through a lot of the maps in Hell Revealed 2 now, like from pistol start, just from all the practice. So yeah, our skills do develop over time, and that's part of the reason. But that's also what makes it's also like part of the reason why Doom stays so fresh is because we're always being challenged too.
Yeah. A lot of the more recent texture packs and palette changes have really made a difference.
Yeah.
I've come. It's been about 3 years since since I've come back, and it's like, wow, a lot's changed.
Oh, you took a break from Doom for a while?
Yeah, I had like a 5-year span where I'd read the forums, I'd download the Keikos, award winners, I'd play through them, but I didn't participate or anything. I'd dick around with my maps, but nothing substantial.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? The DVR, that's when I came back, really, and started mapping again and stuff. And after those few deathmatch projects, I stuck to it, but I just kind of like backed out of sight and just worked on the single player level, and been playing more and more. But the stuff I'm seeing now is better.
Yeah,
it's really good. I don't know. It's
I mean, there's no shortage of good stuff to play, man.
Professional level stuff. It's like wow,
It is. It's really amazing. It's intimidating. It's
intimidating because you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make something cool, and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Assholes. They made this thing. How can I compete?
Yeah.
But
I know, but we all have to. I mean, we all have to start somewhere, and it's
restart.
It takes a lot of practice, and that's something that's been concerning for me lately because I've been spending all this time working on this particular texture pack that I've been developing for so long, and I'm like concerned that I haven't been using the editor enough. Like mapping is like a muscle, It's like how like if I don't know if you've ever had like a workout routine, but if you like lift weights and you have to like have like a regular routine. You have to go to the gym maybe three times a week and keep working at it, and that's when you really start seeing progress. But if you take a break from the gym for like 1 week, you'll come back and it feels like you have to start all over. And for someone like me, I've been mapping long enough that I have like all the techniques straight, but I have to like actually make maps more often to like actually know that I can make something good. Because I understand how to use the editor enough that I can pretty much create anything that I want. Like if I can visualize it, I can make it with enough if I spend enough time with it.
Right.
But actually like making good maps, I don't really know. Like I haven't released a lot of stuff lately, so I might have to like make some practice maps and just kind of release those and see what people think. To like kind of get myself back in the groove. It's just it's something that it's something I have to keep working on. You never really like peak and then just like stay at that level. Like you have to keep mapping because like like there's trends in the community that are constantly shifting, and you get new kinds of players, and there's other stuff you got to compete with, and so you got to like really be on the ball to like stay sharp and be like active with the community in order to make really good stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's just finding the time to do that is it's getting harder as I get older because there's more important stuff in my life that I have to focus on that takes priority. But
I'm finding if I get 5 hours a week to Doom edit, I'm doing good nowadays.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, 20 years ago, I'd spend 40 hours playing Doom and Doom editing.
Yeah, I mean, there was when I first found out about WADs, like one of the most telling things about Doom to me is when I found out about Slidge, the automatic level generator. Because when I found out about that, I would create a megawad with it, and I would play it from start to finish that day. And it would take me like 3-4 hours to beat the whole thing because the levels are pretty streamlined. But I would be playing Doom until my fingers got tired, like, and I would just play for hours and hours. And like when I was really active in creating maps, I would sit down and make a map for like 6 hours straight. Like I would just from start to finish, like I would make a map in a day, and those were like some of my best maps. The ones that because I find that if I work on a map and then save it and then come back to it, I forget where I left off and what I was thinking about when I was making it, and like stuff that I left unfinished and things like that. I forget about that stuff.
Yeah, I run into that problem. That's partly why I write on my printouts. You know.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. You used to make maps with WADauthor, and
Hmm.
you would print out the maps and draw like parts of the map on the printouts. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the only way I know, because I start off with a sketch and then I work the sketch into I would work it in WADauthor, and then I'd print what I had because I had to go to work the next day. So during lunch, I'd sit, I'd sit and have time while eating to draw out the ideas I had in my head, because it was all so brand new. It was just a never-ending stream of ideas coming to you about Doom and Doom mapping and what you could do and stuff. So it was kind of easy just to let it percolate in your head for 4 hours until you had your lunch break, and then I just sketch out on the printouts and then go home and jump in the editor and just make what I drew on the paper and test it, and then fix obvious problems and retest it and stuff, and that's pretty much my process.
Yeah.
Even now, I'll nowadays I'm using Doom Builder, but I still use WADauthor.
Yeah.
And I work in Doom Builder mostly, and I'll get to a point where I want to save it. Then I'll switch to WADauthor. I'll print it out and for the next day for when I'm at lunch or whatever. And I like using WADauthor to test, to do the error checking, because I just think it's better. But
WADauthor does do some things better. I know that.
Every editor has its strengths.
Yeah.
I think WADauthor's is its error checking, and like I don't know if I'm just missing, if I'm just dumb, or if I just never found the instructions. Like, you open up Memento Mori in Doom Builder. How do you switch between levels? Because I have to close it, reopen it, and pick the level.
Oh.
I don't know. WADauthor, you just hit view, go into the view section, drop down, map, and you just click the map you want to go to.
Yeah, I think Doom Builder has something like that too, but the interface is so crazy. There's just buttons everywhere. Like, do you use Doom Builder or do you use GZ Doom Builder?
I'm using GZ Doom Builder. I actually have both, but I prefer GZ Doom Builder.
The interface for GZ Doom Builder is crazy. There's just buttons everywhere.
Yeah.
When I first got it, it was so intimidating. I was like, how much of this crap am I actually going to use? But I discovered it's still good
last month, the sound propagation button. I'm like, where were you 10 years ago?
Oh yeah, that's an awesome utility.
That's a great function. And then the Visplane Explorer is awesome.
Yeah,
that's another nice one. So much easier than the old days, but
oh yeah.
I kind of like when I used WADauthor, you'd add rectangle. You could define the number of vertices in whatever sector you're making.
Yeah.
And it would come out as a nice, perfectly spaced, like you could
shape.
Shape.
Yeah.
And then you mold it into the shape of the room you want. And it felt physical, like you were physically shaping your map.
Yes.
And like Doom Builder, you're just drawing it out.
Yeah.
And it feels different. You're getting the same result, but it feels different.
Right, I know what you mean. It's like, for me, it was like, when I'm using Doom Builder, it feels like I'm drawing with a pencil.
Yeah.
And when I'm using WADauthor, I feel more like I'm building with like Legos or like Kinects.
Yeah.
And it's like a different kind of. It feels different. Like, because the WADauthor will generate the shapes, and you just have to form them into what you want them to be.
Yeah.
And it's just a different kind of mapping process. And I found that like my maps look different depending on what editor I used. And it's because like with WADauthor, you kind of have to change the focus of what you're doing. And when I was using WADauthor, I was really focusing on layout first, and then detail later. And with like Doom Builder, you can get really carried away working on like one room at a time. and like focusing on the detail there.
I'm a one room at a time kind of person.
Oh, even in Wild Out there?
Yeah, I get lost in a room, and then it's probably why I'm consider myself a slow mapper. I do room by room and get hung up on the details. And I know it's stupid, but I do it every time.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do. I've heard. I mean, there's a lot of threads on Doom where people describe their mapping process, and that's what a lot of people do that. I try to avoid doing that because I've been, I don't know. I do. What it is it's tempting. I get tempted to focus on like detailing and stuff and getting everything done in one particular room, and I don't know. I consider the layout to be a little bit more important, but when I work on like something like with Wad Author, I do focus on like creating the general layout first, and so I'll make like the main room in the middle, and then like I'll build outwards towards like the start room and the exit and stuff like that. Yeah. I've tried all sorts of different mapping process to find which one fits for me.
I heard you say you once made a map. You made the start and then you made the exit, and you figured out how to connect the two.
Yeah. I've tried all kinds of different processes and stuff, and a lot of them work. And you don't. I do get different results sometimes, but most of the time it's pretty much the same. But sometimes I'll pick up a particular process, and it'll just like. The mapping process just is smooth like butter. I know exactly what I'm doing and how I'm going to finish the map and things like that. And that was one of them that worked really well for me, is creating the start room first and then the exit room and make them completely disconnected. And from there, you just create all the stuff that's in the middle, and that's all you got to do. And it's because what I find is if I make a map from start to finish, you never really know when the finish is. You know, you can just continue as long as you want.
Yeah, you just push it out and push it out. Yep.
Yeah. So like I'll try, especially nowadays because I have less and less time to actually make a map. I'll want to focus on getting the layout done first, so I know what the map looks like. So I want to I want the map to basically be complete, like before I'm finished that time for the day, and then use all my other times I intend to work on it just detailing stuff and doing little tweaks here and there. And because that just kind of keeps me more focused. Because I don't want to like forget what I was doing last time I was working on the map. If I had like an awesome idea but I just didn't have time to do it, I'd rather just get the whole bare layout done first. And then come back to it.
That makes sense. Hey, do you mind if I need water? I just got to run for.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, man.
For 2 minutes.
That's okay. Like I know we're doing like a podcast here, but it doesn't have to be like this is all gonna be raw. I don't care if it's messy. Like I've had like my wife come in and talk to me like during a show one time, and I've like spilled drinks and stuff. It just happens.
Okay. So it's okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
Mapping is awesome. Yeah, so like my mapping processes, I've tried all kinds of different things. I've tried just creating like one of my mapping processes I've tried was I made just a bunch of random scattered shapes where I would make like plus signs and diamonds and just a bunch of like random scattered shapes. And they were all disconnected, and then I would just the entirety of designing the map was connecting these particular rooms together. Some other mapping processes I've tried where I focused on like a particular, like I would pick, like I would imagine a like a particular gameplay scenario, and then make that like the focus of the map.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. I was just saying to the audience that I picked I had this one map design approach, this like mapping process where I picked a particular, like I came up with like a trap idea or like a particular gameplay scenario. Like maybe there would be like revenants sniping you from one place while you have to kill Mancubi on the bottom. So I would like set that up as like a trap, and then I would like build the map around that particular trap and use that as like the climax before the exit or something, or like before some important event in the map, like when you pick up a special key or something.
Nice.
And that would be like the focal point of the map. And that works for me sometimes too. Yeah, but I do find the mapping process that you described is where you're working on one room at a time. That's like the slowest for me. And it's also like the most distracting because I get carried away with some things that may not be as important as the rest of the map or something.
Well, it leads to problems later. Like, because I've been on vacation, I've had more time than normal to work on a map, and I did my one room at a time thing, and I got it all super detailed, and then I added an opening between two areas, and I added a viz plane because of that. It's like, if I did the whole thing in one, made the whole area first and then do the detailing, I would have prevented like an hour delay. But
vanilla seems to be going out of style these days. There is like some like pretty awesome vanilla projects that are still in development, but I see from what I've played lately, and I mean very very recently, like the last couple weeks, I'll like browse around the Wads and Mods forum and just download some stuff. A lot of people are just making GZ Doom stuff. Like they're just making stuff that only works in GZ Doom.
Yeah, like Yuki Raven's screenshots. Those are freaking gorgeous.
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
It's like, oh yeah, I definitely want to play those. I'm gonna still map for vanilla, but I do want to switch to. At some point in time, I want to try a Z Doom or GZ Doom idea.
Yeah.
But I have plenty of vanilla ideas still to go through before I'm really tired of it.
Yeah. Well, what I still I find like vanilla Doom to have everything that I want besides this plane overflows. So I've been really I think my favorite my new favorite I think is limit removing, where you just basically make anything with any amount of detail that you want and not worry about this plane overflows or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
but it's still standard Doom 2 stuff.
Like the Viz plane overflows is less the save game buffer overflow problem was a bigger issue than the Viz plane overflows. But running in like Chocolate Doom, you could bypass that.
Yeah.
But I really like the challenge of vanilla mapping. I love seeing how much I can do within those constraints. Within the constraints.
Yeah.
And then you can do a lot. I mean.
You really can.
You really can. I mean, you could go crazy in source ports and stuff with no limits.
Yeah.
But I don't have that kind of time.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've opened up some of these maps and it's like, wow, that's like 38,000 line diffs or side diffs shit. And you're like, holy shit, that's gorgeous. But I don't have that time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I do like some vanilla stuff, but in my experience lately, I don't. I did a project with Valkyrie Force, called Absolute Dishonor. Yeah, Valkyrie Force is an awesome mapper. I did like a collaboration project with him where we each did like 2 or 3 maps on this project, and he was very dead set on making it vanilla, and so at the time I was getting really focused on lighting, and I was really enjoying making like lighting gradients and stuff, but that'll fill up Viz planes really fast even without a lot of detail. So I would basically make a map, and I would try to keep it pretty low profile, and then like try to add detail as I went along. And it was pretty cool, except like when you get something to look like really nice, and then you realize you have to strip it apart in order to make it work, and that was really disappointing.
Been there. What was it? I usually figure 16 is a safe number for separate surfaces.
Yeah.
That pretty much always works. I know the number's higher or situational, but it's like, I just tend to go with 16 and different surfaces and textures and all that, and it tends to work 9 times out of 10. But
vanilla is fascinating though.
Once you add lighting detail, that really eats up space.
Oh yeah, but vanilla is fascinating though because like the way vis planes work. For those of you who don't know, vis planes are just like it's the amount of surfaces that you can see on screen at the same time. I think there's probably a more technical explanation for it, but that's basically what it is. So it is pretty interesting though because if you do design a map, what you can do is if you're making like a really tiny compact room, you can load it up with detail because you can't see all of it at once, and so that way you can have like a really detailed map if it's in like a really tiny room. But then if you have like bigger rooms, you have to go kind of you have to go a little softer with the detail. So like when you're making like these big areas, you got to keep them like kind of under detailed in a way, but you can still but that gives you like it kind of draws your focus onto making like really interesting architecture with the limited resources you have.
Well, I find like the under detailed areas, especially if they're like lower lighting with the abstract nature of the textures, it works really well.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of have these crude areas. I mean, that can be. It works because it's like so simple.
Yeah.
It just kind of works.
Yeah.
But it has some mystery to it.
Yeah, I love Doom's software lighting. The way things get darker as they get further away. That just makes everything look so cool.
It does. It really does. You feel like you're in a dungeon when it does that.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. It really does. I think that's what makes like castle maps and stuff so much fun in something like Doom, because it does have like kind of that creepy dungeon feel to it.
I mean, the whole game's based off of the D&D game John Carmack was running. So.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you read that before, right? In Masters of Doom.
Yeah, I own that one, and Dungeons and Dreamers by the same author. Both are good books.
That's pretty awesome. Did they talk about Doom in Dungeons and Dreamers? I never heard about that.
No, that one's mostly about Ultima Underworld and a couple other games. Your traditional turn-based RPG games. But,
yeah. I never got into like Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of stuff, but like I found out through Masters of Doom that was like a very significant part of what made Doom so great. And when I found out about Dungeons and Dragons for the first time, I was pretty young, and like the only way I knew about it was like how it was sensationalized on TV, where like you see like a bunch of kids gathered together around a table and they're dressed up like elves and wizards and stuff, and it just made it look so stupid.
Yeah,
but it's actually
I was a hardcore D&D player.
Yeah, but I found out about it like not too long ago. Like I actually watched a documentary on it just to like find out what it is, and it actually seems like really fascinating.
You'd probably like it. Like. Yeah, I got into Doom because I lost all my D&D players. They either got married or got a job on the West Coast, and everyone moved on.
Yeah.
So, I started computer gaming, and then at the time, all I had was the 8088 computer. So I did like, Wizardry and all those other games, and then eventually I was given a PlayStation for Christmas, and I played Doom. And then I had the tax returns. I bought a new computer and bought Doom on the for the PC and started that way. And it made up for losing all my players because it was like so interesting playing other people's maps. It was like, I kind of felt like, okay. Other DMs are making levels,
right? Yeah. I didn't really know that about Dungeons and Dragons until I found out about it like a few years ago. But it's like for the same reason that people are into Dungeons and Dragons are the same reasons that I'm into Doom mapping. It's like being able to create that experience for other people.
They used to say like everyone in the game industry got into it to make their own, or every programmer, back in the 90s got into it to make their own version of D&D. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it
does
true.
seem like it though, because like there's so many, like in the 90s there's so much like popular like medieval stuff, like like Ultima Underworld and like even like Heretic and Hexen, like that's got to be Dungeons and Dragons influenced in some way or another.
Yeah.
Like, it just has to be. There's no way it can't. And it's it's so cool. But you don't really like play. I mean, there are like a few. I mean, I guess there are. There's more games that are like medieval and stuff too. But I don't know, something about like the demons and stuff in Doom and like the pixely nature of it that just I don't know. That's kind of it hits a soft spot for me. And when it's like in such high resolution, it's like it seems like it doesn't seem. I don't know. I'm kind of making up an argument here, but
no. I've done like because I play in Chocolate Doom with a what is it? Super gritty original resolution, whatever that is, 320 by whatever
200, I think. Yeah.
Once you increase it, it becomes too smooth and clean, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm just biased that way.
Yeah, I know. I'm like that too, though. I like to play with like the old school settings because it just feels fresher to me. It feels more complete when you can when everything looks kind of blurry in that way, like kind of pixelated and neat. It just like, it looks interesting to me. Like it kind of when things are like really crisp and clear, it kind of like gives away how primitive Doom looks. And it looks fresher when it's like all pixelated and stuff like that and retro. Yeah, it's when games are like I wanted to when I like the first couple games that I got into that had map editors with them is the first one I played was Jetpack, which was this like kind of side-scrolling game, and it was tile-based, and it came with a built-in editor, and I made a whole bunch of levels for it. And like once I was like into playing Doom and stuff, and there was a couple other games that I played that had editors and stuff, and I wanted to get into game design as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah, because like it just seemed like so much fun, but like nowadays games are so like all video games are like these huge corporations and stuff, and there's like hundreds of people that work on them, and it just doesn't look like fun anymore. Because like when you play games that were made in like the 90s and stuff, they're mostly made like I mean id Software is the perfect example because they only had like maybe 8 or 9 guys on the team, and and like as long as they thought of a good idea, it got in the game, and there was like no question about it. And I can't imagine that being the same way when you work in a company where there's like hundreds of employees. You probably don't get any input at all. So like, what is it? You're just doing a job, and you're not even like making a game.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? You hear EA or Bethesda, there's like 200 employees, and I don't know, whatever input you do have, it's got to get lost in the mix.
Yeah. It didn't seem like that with the new Doom game though, because I knew they were talking about that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a very good game, and I saw some videos about like how the development process was like, and they it seemed like it was pretty fun given the people that worked on it, how they explained it, because they came up with basically if they thought of anything that was fun, it landed in the game. That was pretty cool. But I can't imagine that same experience is like that for every game industry. So like if I were to look for a job and like not get hired by id Software, that would be a pretty big blow to my ego. If I had to like work on a game that I was not even interested in, it's just with Doom when you're making maps, you get so much control, and it's so fast and easy, and you really get to control the experience, and you get the community surrounding it. So like even if you're making maps and you're not sure if they're good, there's plenty of people that'll play them for you and tell you if it's good, and it's just such a fun it's so I would really encourage anybody who's just playing Doom to really get into mapping because it's so much it's such a fun experience being able to create something and then let other people play it and see how they like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's even that instant satisfaction. You build your first room and you test it, and it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Like just creating something that's like out of your imagination and just making it in Doom. It's so Oh, it's such an attractive feeling.
I like the only part of Doom editing that I don't like is making textures or working with texture resources. Wish that was easier, but other than that, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it really is. As far as like drawing the shapes and stuff, and like stringing like sectors together and creating a map, a lot of that process is pretty quick. As long as you don't like get too overwhelmed with trying to make things perfect, because I know some people do get carried away with that, and it sucks when that happens. But just like the actual process of making the maps and drawing the sectors actually isn't very slow. It's a pretty quick and easy process as long as you stay focused. But yeah, that's what's so fascinating about Doom to me is being able to create stuff and let other people play it. And like even after so much practice, I can like create all the kind of stuff. So, like I've always wanted to like kind of have this healthy blend of like Quake styled stuff, like that kind of like brown rusty metal type stuff, and like Doom 64. Like I kind of have that, and that's kind of like what I'm achieving with UAC Ultra, and that's kind of like what I'm working on now. I have this new UAC Ultra project that I'm working on. That is it's pretty far behind in the development process, but I'm really satisfied with what I've got done so far because it's exactly what I wanted to make it look like. And after that much practice, I'm just really happy with it.
Nice. That's a good feeling, though. Like,
yeah. Just making maps, man.
It's all good. Well, I'm getting that with this new map of mine because I wanted to do like an episode 4 set with G-Stone.
Yeah.
I just always wanted to work with the orange sky with G-Stone fortresses and stuff.
Yeah, that's such an attractive
rock.
theme.
What the hell? The white rock texture.
Yeah, SP rock. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just love that image. SP rock 2. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
One. But it's like the perfect combination, and I never really until Dementia never really worked with that. So it's like,
yeah,
it's just a fun theme to work through. So
yeah, the orange sky really makes it come to life. I think like
I want to expand that sky 4 times. You know how you can.
So you have like a full 360.
So it wraps around.
Yeah.
And just alter it and change it and mix it up, and so it's not completely the same as you spin around in the map.
Right. Yeah, but that orange sky, like I kind of I feel like you can pretty much make any map look awesome with an orange sky. It's just it's such an awesome sunset type or sunrise type of sky. It's just perfect.
That's like the red sky in Plutonian. I mean, everything looks good with that sky.
It really does.
Like, everything.
That's a skill I've always wanted to have, is be able to create a sky texture that just works on everything.
Yeah, I don't have it, so
well, I do a lot of graphics and stuff, but it's orange skies are awesome. But the episode 4 theme is awesome too. It's just those green marble textures and wood and just like that hell theme. It's kind of like a cool gothic not metallic, but just that I don't know. It's a very interesting take on hell that I think really sets the hell theme for Doom the best way possible.
I don't know. It just grabs the the fantasy aspect that I gravitate towards really well. You know, it just it's just good. I like it. I've added some like stuff from the Doom 2 textures I think are missing that should have been in there, like the Zimmers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple other metal and late.
Yeah, there's not enough metal in Doom 1.
But it's it's gonna be pretty good, I think, once it's all done.
That's awesome. So. That's good, man. Do you ever find that you have like not enough time to work on the projects that you want to do?
Oh yeah. I'm like I remember in my original goal was to create a 32 level megawad.
Oh God, me too.
Titled Pure Doom. I was going to call it Pure Doom in all caps, and it was going to be the best thing ever. And you know, I don't have time for that. And then I was like, you know, thinking, oh, that's kind of, if you're going to call it Pure Doom, you better pull it off. I mean, that's fucking ballsy if you even try. So it's like, okay.
That happens to me sometimes too. I'll come up with like a title for a WOD, and it's just like so good that like I don't know if I'll be able to make a map that'll like actually match, that'll like actually measure up to how good that title is. Like I had a project idea when I first got into Doom mapping called Doom Unsanctified. And I was like, oh my God, that's kick ass. And I was like, oh man, I can't waste that on my like first project. I got to save it for something good.
Yeah, I have like a list of like level names I want to create, and like textures I want to create and all this stuff. And it's most of it's using just the stock textures and rearranging the patches and stuff. But you know, but I don't particularly have time for that. So I decided when I came back, I'm just going to refocus and do Ash Dreams, which would be a reimagining of Dementia, map E4 M5 that I was making for 2002, A Doom Odyssey, that I had to stop at the time. So that map was never finished, so that'll go in this. And then this map here will be the opening act. And there was some scraps from other maps I wanted to take and convert to G-Stone and see if it worked or not, just to reuse some things.
I always wanted to come up with a.
That's about six levels, roughly, if everything worked out.
Yeah.
And then the other 3, I figure by the time I'm done doing those 6, I would be on a roll, and the other 3 would kind of happen naturally. So, but I figure a 9-level episode by myself is enough, you know.
Yeah, it's a pretty reasonable goal. Yeah. I've been having to like kind of short sight some of my goals too, and that kind of sucks when that happens. Not short sight, but like kind of, you know, just like kind of make them more reasonable, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because you're married, you have a house, a job, etc.
I've had ideas for like megawatt projects, but like at the same time, there's other people who have made megawatt projects that are pretty much not much different than what I came up with. Like one of my first megawatt projects that I had in mind was going to use a lot of Community Chest 3 textures and stuff, and a bunch of like Nick Baker recolors and stuff. But that's basically what Unholy Realms turned out to be, made by Snakes. And like now that when I look at that project, I'm like, oh, that's basically what I was going to make. So I might as well not even bother with this project. I mean, it could have been good, but if somebody already did it, I don't see any reason to like really pursue it, especially when time is something that's a factor.
Well, I mean, the ideas can, you know, if you find a good texture pack that really hasn't been used, or an idea that hasn't been oversaturated, you know, you could just the map shapes and stuff will still work. The pieces will still work in their positions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I find it's the textures, looking at the textures that really trigger my inspiration.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I don't know. For me, I need a good, I guess, palette,
Yeah.
to pick from, just to make things happen.
Sites really work for me. Like seeing like a really cool screenshot, or like you said, like cool textures, or sometimes just looking at really interesting art. I was always really fascinated. Like we were talking about shovelware earlier. They always have like really cool art for those CDs, and some of those were like really inspiring for me. Sometimes you'll like look at them and you just kind of like imagine what that kind of map would look like if it were a real thing, and getting ideas from other people's maps and stuff too. So I'm a really visual type of person.
I am too. I mean, I don't know. Occasionally I think of ideas for combat and I put it in what I'm working on, but usually I do the room first and then add the combat later.
Yeah.
And like I can't really come up with a whole idea for a map just on gameplay ideas, but I can come up with an idea for a map based on how it should look.
Yeah.
Stuff. So.
Well, I have been
like. Say I'm visual.
Yeah, I've been trying to focus a little bit more on gameplay in that way. What I have kind of come up with is like a little bit of a formula almost. I always try to like simplify things the most I can, and one of the things I came up with is if I could think of like maybe like 3 or 4 good traps, like really good like gameplay scenarios or something, maybe, or sometimes as much as like 2 or 3 is just enough. And then just use them for every particular event, such as like finding a new weapon or a key or getting to the exit. You can pretty much design a map around that. So like I'll like create these gameplay scenarios and keep them like isolated around the map, and then build the map around those particular scenarios.
Okay.
And that kind of keeps me focused. But yeah, I keep trying to like boil things down. Like even like when like drawing maps and stuff on paper, I've like if I spend the time like drawing the individual sectors with my pencil, I find that to be like kind of tricky to like recreate in the map, because sometimes the levels turn out to be like a different size than what you imagined based on like what you drew on the paper. So you have to like So you kind of have to like rework the map. So like I've been like changing my drawing process to like something where I basically like draw the layout as like a bunch of like points. So like I'll draw like circles on the map. Like this is going to be the red key room, and this part is going to be where you find the rocket launcher, and this part is the exit. And then I just draw lines that connect these points together, and that'll be like my first draft. And then I'll actually like start drawing what the rooms look like after that, like at a very basic level. Like not.
So you do like a flow chart.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like a flow chart. It starts off like a flow chart, and that's like the first draft. And then like after that, I draw a second draft where I'm actually drawing the shapes of the rooms and thinking of like the type of gameplay that's going to happen in them. So I draw the room to be shaped in such a way where that gameplay will work in it. And then from there, I can probably begin working on the map and then detailing it as I see fit.
I could see that working for me, a flow chart.
Yeah. I try different things all the time, because I basically want to have a process where I can make maps in like in the shortest amount of time possible. So I'm always trying different things to see how fast I can generate ideas and get things completed.
Excuse me. Well, you could always try like Eric Holmes' method to Scythe, where he made a level a day for 1 month.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
If I can force myself to do that.
Small maps, just bang.
Yeah. That's the way to go, man, because Scythe 1 and Scythe 2 are still good to this day. Like, they're good looking, and they play great. Eric Ulm is the man. I wish he was still in the community.
Yeah, he probably burnt himself out good making those.
I know. It's a shame, though, man. He makes great stuff. It sucks when people come and go, and there's a lot of great mappers that were in the community that have gone, but I'm very happy that they left us with their awesome maps.
Yeah, some of them seem to have come back.
That is true. There is a lot of cool people who have been taking long hiatuses and then they show up.
Yeah, like I think I just saw Ola.
That's right.
He's back.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit. We actually had a little bit of a conversation about him working on some textures for UAC Ultra. But that actually kind of like went off. That kind of fell through though because I told him that I had a very specific style that I was going for, where I was like trying to, like I got this whole system where I'm working on this thing where I've talked about this on like so many episodes. I hope people aren't going crazy about me repeating stories, but I have this project where I have textures that have like baked in shadows and stuff on them, so that way I can like really control the lighting and make things look like really control like contrast and stuff. And I have other like special things. So I told him that like if we're going to be making textures, if you're going to share some of your textures with me, I'm going to be making my own variants of them. And I have like other textures where they like gradient into other colors, so I can create like fake colored lighting and stuff. And it's going to be really fascinating when it's done. But like I barely got started on the mapping, so it's still a long way coming. But I've got some like experiment like test maps to like see how it works, and it looks awesome. But I told him that I would be making some like edits to some of his textures, and he wasn't sure how he felt about that. So he's a cool guy though, man. He's making some pretty awesome textures. He told me he's working on his own texture pack that is like designed to basically replace everything that's in Doom 2, including a bunch of like variants and stuff. So you have things in different sizes and shapes and colors, and but it's all going to be like in his own style, and it's going to look really cool because he's posted some stuff recently, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw, what was it, yesterday? Some looked like Darkening 2 maps. He just does good work, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the community who do great work, and Ola's one of them. He's a great artist. We're lucky, man. We're lucky Doom is as great as it is, and it encouraged this huge community.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised it got bigger, honestly.
Yeah, it's huge now. There's so many people playing it.
You know, it was pretty big. Like when Doom 3 came out, it was pretty big, but I honestly thought it would dwindle down to just the fanatics.
Yeah.
It's actually gotten bigger. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was actually having this conversation with someone the other day about how there's just so much stuff that it's like hard enough for new mappers to get people to play their new stuff just because there's so much content coming out, and like all the really impressive stuff is getting all the attention, and all the new mappers aren't able to develop their skills. It's a pretty serious problem if we want new mappers, but that's I guess we gotta do our part and help people.
When I started, like, no one knew my stuff, but I'd join a thing, and they'd want to see your map, so you send them what you made, and you get like, okay, that's good enough,
Yeah.
And then you just start building a kind of like a network,
Yeah.
Sending your stuff back and forth, and a little friendly competition builds, and that's how I grew.
I'd like to see that more often. Is like people like make like maybe different mapping teams, and like competing teams and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of competition in Doom anymore, but everything's generally gotten a lot nicer. I mean, there's not a lot of fights and stuff that break out in Doom World anymore.
No, it's pretty tame.
Yeah.
But that's probably just because we're all like getting older.
That's true. Yeah, it's not as much. Yeah, I mean, we understand each other better, I guess.
Yeah, but the I forgot my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay. There's
No, I mean, I remember like when you did Mutiny, you were like hoping that would become like a team effort, mentor effort. Well, I don't know about mentor.
Yeah, but it was kind of like it was like a
But you
fake
definitely wanted
quality
like
control
a
type
team
thing
going.
Yeah, it was
hand it off.
Right. Yeah, it was like kind of my idea behind it was like kind of it would be really fascinating if I could get really experienced mappers to work with really new mappers, and then they would kind of like learn off of each other, and that way like new mappers if they get kind of like stuck in their own ways, they could see what the new mappers coming up with and seeing like what it's like to map from it was all like kind of a pipe dream in my head. I thought it would seem a lot cooler, but not that Mutiny came out poorly or anything, but I expected to see a lot of I thought it would be a lot more eye opening for a lot of people. But yeah, the kind of the idea was a way to kind of not enforce, but kind of it was a little bit of quality control, so that way mappers could because what I see a lot in community projects is there's a lot of like maps that really stand out, either by being really good or by being really bad, and
right.
Or it's just like so bizarre that it's unlike anything in the project, and it looks like if you feel like you're playing a community project, you just feel like you're playing a bunch of random maps, and it's not consistent. And I wanted to eliminate that feeling, so I wanted to make a project where if people could only if people could only make a map that they collaborated with somebody else with, um, they couldn't make something that was like so unique and independent to their own idea of what it is to make a fun map. Because it would need the input of someone else in order to be complete. So that was kind of my way of. So if somebody like made a map and it like was kind of junky, and then someone else was working on it and they didn't want their name attached to it, they would have to help work on it and make it better. And that was kind of like my way of quality control. But I also wanted to, but I had like a really fun experience working on UAC Ultra One with Super Jamie, because our styles kind of like ripped off of each other. He was really focused. Okay. He was really focused on like gameplay and stuff, and I was really interested in getting into detail. And so like we would design these maps, and he said he was like running out, like during the process he was running out of ideas for maps, but I was having no trouble coming up with new maps. So I would like design these maps, and then he would do the thing placement and stuff, because I wasn't really experienced with that yet. And we really riffed off each other and like came up with a pretty cool project from that front. So I wanted to see people maybe pair up with somebody who's better at something that they're not, and that way they could create awesome maps together. And I don't know. It seems like communication is not very big in the community these days. I mean, there was a lot of people like working like, because what happened with most of the maps is people like would make 90% of the map and like leave all of like the bug testing and stuff behind, and then they would just kind of have like this junky map, and then someone else would just have to wrap it up, and that wasn't really fun. But I would like to see more like collaboration in the community. I'm not really sure how to go about it.
I've had an idea, like with Ash Streams.
Yeah.
Once it's all compiled, I want to strip out all of the Skill 1 settings and get guest mappers to come in and populate the maps. Just so I have something, so I could experience the maps differently for at least for my own interest. But
that's a cool idea.
It'd be, but you could take that same idea where everyone makes a map, and you have 3 skill settings. So, you could have two other people populate the map in different ways.
Yeah.
And then on the, you get to populate someone else's maps. They, and vice versa. And that would be, at least it'd be, interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because what you could do is you could put all the monsters that you want on skill 1 or 2, or just pick one of those skills, and then you could I can imagine that might be a little annoying for somebody if the monsters are already on it and then they have to put monsters on top of them at a different skill level. But what you could do is maybe like cut the monsters out of the map and like save a backup of it and then send somebody the map.
This is where like WAD Author comes in great, because in WAD Author in things mode you could pick which skill level you're looking at.
Oh yeah, so you can like filter out the.
You know, I would just you could populate the map that way, but
okay.
But even the way you suggested, where you just send them the blank map and they populate it.
Yeah, just like put monsters wherever you think you would want them to be, and that way you could play your own map with a different skill setting, and then like get a completely different experience. That's a really cool idea.
Thanks. But yeah, so that's an idea that's been I want to use when I finish Ash Dreams, but I just think it would be an interesting project, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I could take one of my old maps and spiff it up, like, since I said I wanted to retweak them, and then open up 2 skill levels and maybe start this. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw...
it would be neat to see what other people do with your map, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's one of the things I'm thinking about with UAC Ultra, since Super Jamie's not part of Doom World anymore. He's went on to do other things, I guess. I was wondering how I might go about this. And somebody gave me the idea, I think it was Purist. Or maybe it was Marcake, I can't remember. Or I heard it from one of those two guys. But they said, like, I should do, if I were to, like, work on UAC Ultra 2, I should do it in such a way where I work with a different mapper for every episode. So, like, if I had, like, so if I had, like, 5 or 6 episodes or something, I would work on it and collaborate with a different master. So I would be working on every map, but I would have a different partner for each episode. And that way you would get, like...
I would keep it fresh for you.
Yeah, because then you don't get a whole set of maps that are just mine. You get something that's a little bit of different flavors of each player, each mapper. And that would be... I'm really... It's a pretty fascinating idea. I think I want to look into that. But I'm just not sure how to go about it, because I don't want to... Because, like, the project I'm working on now has, like, a whole bunch of specific stuff. So, like, I'm afraid of giving somebody my texture pack and then being so confused about how to work with it. So, like, I'm wondering if I have to, like, make a separate texture pack that just has, like, all the basic textures and all the special stuff is left out. And then I just go over it with the special stuff later. It gets, like, way too chaotic, so I'm just gonna... I don't know. But it is something I'd like to explore. I want to know what people would be interested in working on. Like, I don't know if they'd be more interested in them working on a map and then me touching it up, or maybe looking at a map that I made and then touching it up the way they want it. And I don't know. I don't really know what the best way to go about it is. It just depends on what people want, because some people are kind of, like, uncomfortable with letting other people touch their stuff and, like, step on their toes and, like, make something look like if they don't want their, like, vision to be compromised by someone else working on it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, because you get kind of, like, committed to the map that you make. It becomes your baby, you know. You don't want people, like, you don't want to, like, make, like, a really cool room that you think looks awesome, and then someone's like, oh, well, the gameplay in this room sucks, so I'm gonna scrap this entire thing and make something completely different. And you're like, oh, well, I just spent hours working on that. I really like that.
Yeah. Sorry. The well, like with the idea of having guest mappers, it would be like you can only put items in, not you can't change anything other than items.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like you got to put, like, limits on, like, what you can do, or, like, I don't know.
Because I mean, they could add a tag that breaks something, you know, and you just it would be easy enough to do that, but if you, I would
it's
just
a tough
limit
question
it
to answer.
like items, you know, and monster placements and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and decorations, thing placement.
Yeah, I guess I could post a thread on Doom World about, like, collaboration ideas and see what people come up with. Doom World's great for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'd love to collaborate more, but it's like, or at all, I should say. But I just, I'm down to like 5 hours a week at best.
Yeah, I know. I want to collaborate more too, but I'm just like, I don't have that much time, and I don't want people to be like waiting for me to work on something, and then being like, oh, I can't, or especially when I have to, when stuff comes up, and you're like planning to work on something this weekend, and then I don't know, just plans come up, or like something comes up where you just don't have time to do it, and you just end up putting it off for weeks. I just don't want. I don't want to be like an irresponsible partner, you know.
Yeah, I do, because it, you don't set out to be, but it just life's busy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so like I keep getting like every once in a while I'll get like invites to work on someone's community project, or like I have another guy who's working on a project and he's like, you make awesome textures, can you make textures for my wad? And I'm like I'm so neck deep in stuff that I want to do for myself. I can't possibly help somebody else with other stuff. And I'm doing all these podcasts. I mean, I say that I don't have a lot of time, and then meanwhile I'm doing these like 3-hour podcasts all the time. But it's so much easier to talk about Doom than to actually like work on it.
No, but I don't know. I like these. These are good. I mean,
yeah. If people are getting, if it's helpful for people, because I know when like Doom Radio came out for the first time, I was like listening to that while I was working on my maps, and that really kept me focused.
Yeah, I was doing the same. I was listening to WXR while I was working on this map this past week. But yeah, it's you're like, oh wow, it's just interesting to listen to while you're working on it. It's like, oh wow,
yeah, because it's like on topic.
Get
like,
it,
Yeah.
Because I mean, in your hometown or the nearest, there might be 100 people in your state who make Doom maps.
Yeah.
It's like, how many of us are there, and how spread out are we and shit?
I know.
So
that's what I find so fun about doing this radio show, is because I don't get to talk to people about Doom. I mean, there's every once in a while I'll find somebody who's like interested in games and I can tell them about Doom, but it immediately switches over to me to them telling me about whatever game they're playing, and I don't want to like bombard them with all this information I know about Doom. And so it's great to like be able to talk to other Doomers and like talk about like mapping and all this, like this great conversation. We've been talking for over 2 hours, and I mean there's still more to talk about, and it's just fun to be able to talk to all kinds of people who are interested in Doom the same just to the same extent that I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of one of the reasons I want to do the a PodCon, or PodCon. I can't call it PWODs, but when I was making the plutonium maps, next door to my apartment was this. It's called the Eagle's Nest. I don't know if it's it's probably like a American Legion or something like that, but you could rent the hall. And I was thinking to myself, it'd be cool, just get every Doomer I know and just hang out and have a barbecue and shoot the shit.
Yeah.
But, I think that would be fun. So
it would be awesome to like actually meet people in person. I am planning a Europe trip sometime this summer. I think like late in August. So I'm hoping I don't know where everybody lives, and I don't want to like make them give me their address so I can find them. But it would be cool if I could meet with some like European Doomers during my trip, because I plan on hitting a bunch of places. And if you are from Europe and you're listening, I'm going to London, I'm going to Paris, Barcelona, Spain, Munich, Germany, and Rome, Italy. But I'm like hitting all like the major cities. I don't know if that's where anybody lives, but hopefully if they're nearby and they want to meet up, I'd love to talk to them.
I thought someone made a map of Doom World member locations, because
that's
there was a thread.
You're right. That was a thing. I don't know where that thread is anymore, though.
You got to be able to look it up somewhere. I mean, it was, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah. It's crazy, though, when you find Doomers that are, like, so close to where you live, and you, like, had no idea they were there.
Oh, I know. Yeah, who was it? Fraggle lives probably within 100 miles of me. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I thought he was British, because of the name, Fraggle. I just thought it was British. I'm like, but, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I looked at the map, I found out, like, Bucket and Ralphus were, like, just, like, not even that far away from me. Like, it would be, like, maybe 25 minutes to drive to them.
Oh,
just
no
like,
shit.
These
Wow.
people are, like, these people are walking around. I've probably seen them in my normal everyday life, and I had no idea they were playing Doom.
Ralphus humiliated me some fierce in deathmatch.
Oh God, he's a machine.
Oh my God, it was like pitiful. It was just pitiful.
Yeah,
I thought, I'm a pretty good player. Nope, not at all.
Yeah, it's really eye-opening when you play against other players.
Yeah, him and the guy who made Green War just fucking stomped me. Bad.
Yeah.
It's fun every now and then doing deathmatch, but I'm just there to make your points go higher.
Yeah, you're just cannon fodder.
I'm just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Also, he's like 25 minutes. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It'd be awesome. I never actually met him in person. It would be cool to arrange something.
But he was on your show.
Yeah, I know. That's what's even weirder about it. I've had him on the show twice. I still haven't met him in person, but I know he's not far away from me. That's cool, man. This whole community thing is it's so great. I've talked to other people who like play other games and stuff, and they say that Doom World there's no other community like it.
No, Doom World is special. I mean, I think I've visited every day pretty much for 20 some odd years now.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I poke around the forums just to see what people are talking about. It's always something cool.
But
so,
all right.
Yeah, do you want to wrap this up? We've been talking for like 2 hours.
Actually, I could probably go. I have to wake up my wife in like 15 minutes, but
okay.
She has to work an overnight shift. But
okay.
Yeah.
Are there are there other things you want to talk about before? Like I can't remember. I sent you like a message before the show about like a cold read of like what we would be talking about.
Oh yeah. I think we pretty much. Oh, hang on. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Okay, so yeah, let's just wrap this up then, and then we can move on with our everyday lives and hopefully make more maps in the future.
Right. This has been fun.
Yeah, dude, I had a great time. And I hope people listening had a good time too. I would really encourage anybody who hasn't started mapping to get into it. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it's just rewarding.
Yeah, and there's so much to talk about. We can get like super deep into like really complex stuff in Doom, and yeah. So for those of you listening, definitely make more maps. And if you're not making maps, play more maps too, and give people reviews because people are making maps and they need feedback. So if you don't like something, if you play something and you like it, make sure you tell those mappers because that's a great feeling when people know that they made something that was impressive to you and that was fun for you. Yeah. So yeah, make maps, play maps, keep killing Doom monsters, and keep listening to the show, man. I want to keep making more episodes. I have more people that I want to talk to. I don't know who I'm talking to next, but I know later down the line, I have some episodes set up with Purist and another one with Eris Falling, and I have something arranged where I'll be talking. I think if I got an email recently from Dario Casali.
No. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that'll be really fun. I'll be talking to him about Plutonia and other stuff like that, and so that'll be really fun. I also have some plans to talk to some other guys like Sean Green and American McGee, But I got in contact with them through Facebook. The internet's great, man. You can just talk to anybody these days. So we'll try to set something up with him and some other guys from around the community too. And if other people want to talk on the show, just reach out to me on Doom World. Send me a private message and we'll work something out. And
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. If you like the show, if you like watching it live, check it out on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. My Twitch handle is twitch.tv/J40ounce. That's J_40OZ. And where can people find you, Joe? Do you have like a Twitch stream channel or anything?
No. I don't have any social media stuff.
Okay, so just Doom
private message me on Doom World.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and keep an eye out for your projects, man. Your Ash Dreams, and what else are you working on?
Just doing one thing at a time now.
Yeah.
So Ash Dreams, I'll release it map by map, and then compile it when it's all done.
Okay, cool. So check that out when that's done. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Joe, for being here. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Oh, this was awesome. Thanks.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later.